Hey up guys, what's going on and welcome back to York City. So here we are then, second leg of this second knockout round. Not much more else to say. Nothing interesting happening in the few days since we last met. In-game, a 2-1 lead to take into the home match. Let's seal this victory. The only real other news to speak of is the fact that Liverpool trashed Man United in the league. They played a day later, they played on the Monday. And that's Manchester United's second loss of the season. It's only their second loss, so bit of a surprise. And obviously, most importantly, it was a 4-0 loss, that. And obviously, we play Man United in the second game in today's episode. I do wonder if that's going to have an effect on the morale, because obviously, big rival Liverpool, big loss, might be a little bit shaken, might be a little bit annoyed by that. So it could go either way. Now this is a 2-1 victory. Grimes is coming back, so he will make his spot on the bench somewhere. Loftus-Cheek. For cup competitions, I do tend to keep the goalkeeper around just in case, because there's no going back from that one if you mess up. In the league, it's not really that much of a problem. I don't mind dropping goalkeepers in the league because it's just one game out of 38 if you lose them mid-game. In cup competitions, it's a little bit more dramatic. In case you were wondering, by the way, why I don't ever have goalkeepers, that's why. Never really felt the need to explain it until now. I'm just looking at the team. Freshness-wise, everyone else is mostly okay. I'm just going to preserve Saxton, and that's about it. He's not bad either, but I think with another game in him, he may not be quite as fresh for the Man United one. And I think in terms of weakening-wise, I think that's probably one of the ones we can sort of get away with the most. Famous last words. But the team is pretty much as you would expect then. Dutra, Shaw on the left for once, Coleridge, Rick, and Laird, Lentas, Maxence, Seri, Madeira, Ebersbach, Foreman. Like I say, Grimes is back, but again, same situation. He's on 91%. Don't want to play him now. Don't want to tire him out too much for the Man United game. He will be there if I feel like I need him. So their lineup is looking pretty familiar, as I struggle to really see any major differences. I'm not sure if Tavares was on the left last time, but otherwise he looks pretty much identical. Oh, what a great start. Team talk-wise, that was a new option. I've never seen that before. The first leg doesn't matter. This is a new game now. Win it of its own accord, because, the draw's fine as well. Win or draw this, just don't let them really score is the main deal. As we mentioned last time, one goal doesn't really affect things too much, but 2 goals for Wolfsburg, obviously a problem. So we just make sure we pin them back, make sure they don't really get that much of a sniff out of a goal opportunity. Things could get interesting. Now Rennes, worth noting in the background there, 2 goals for them would actually see them through because they scored 1 away goal. And in a way, of the 4 games being played right now, probably the most interesting from a neutral's perspective, because it's the only one pretty much where the home side can turn things around thanks to away goals. Now that's been whipped in. Sergio gathers it quite nicely, and naturally not the end of that highlight. Now Coleridge just waits on the ball. Shaw on this left-hand side. Runs inwards, still going, stops, Lentas. Forward to Seri, who was left quite abandoned actually by the 3 players closing down Shaw instead. He's made his way into the box and bypasses every other player. Ultimately, though, good save. And we start again with a corner, which, terrible, frankly. And whatever Shaonan failed to do there didn't obviously result in too much because we've got a new highlight and it's in our possession. Shao really should have got to that clearance first. Very surprised he didn't. Seri, though, Lentas. Don't really see too much shooting-wise from Lentas, particularly in highlights, but Ebersbach, wide. I am aware he's a defensive midfielder, but he doesn't really get too involved in the action. He does tend to hold back a little bit, which is useful, defensively, of course. Madeira nabs that off Bayer off on this left-hand side. He goes charging on goal. I expect he's going to try himself because he's a selfish little sod. And yes, there we are. In fairness, I don't think the pass necessarily opened up there either, so I can't blame him too much. Bruised ankle for Laird. What is with all these nothing injuries being treated as massive ones? Oh, God. I just saw it at the end. I didn't get to see what it was, though. What's happened to Seri? Potential knee injury. First half means nothing if we don't do anything in the second. That's fine. Keep that going. Now, I just want to see if Seri's going to get properly better. I actually want to see what it was. Pulled knee ligaments. He's coming off. Laird can stay out there with a bruised ankle for crying out loud. May twang a little, but it's not an actual injury. Madeira. Foreman. Not quite. Madeira. Not quite. Maxence. I think this is just because we've made changes, but there are shots happening. Another good block. Ebersbach. Cleared. End of that? No. Wolfsburg opportunity maybe? Luis Claudio? No. Over. I've been mugged. Although, that being said, Lentas has just dipped under 70%, so Saxton will make an appearance now. Ideally, I would have liked to have taken Shaw off. We're forced into 2 relatively early changes that I would have rather had done without. Now, I'm not sure how many people, or if anyone, was on a yellow card warning at any stage here. If they were, I've ignored them. Alonso Ebersbach, not really seeing a huge amount to do otherwise. I think I get another highlight because they've made a change. I'll be honest, it's another nil. If it's another 0-0, it's not great entertainment-wise for you lot, I do apologise, but I'm happy with it. Foreman somehow managed to smash the defender with that shot. I don't know how that was possible, because that defender was not in any way, shape or form in the line of the goal. And Maxon's a bit tired, but that's not a huge deal because he won't be starting the next match. Grimes, in the dying seconds, gets this forward to Madeira. Like 93 minutes played of potential 94. Saxton on the edge of the box. Grimes thought he was going to have a crack. Maxon's will. Good save. Might have been going wide anyway. And we've limited Wolfsburg to one shot and their goalkeeper. I mean, if we ever sell Dutra, their goalkeeper's made 14 saves. I've just noticed how dominant we were. The fact we've not scored is absolutely ridiculous. Their average rating of 6.84 is pretty much entirely because of the goalkeeper. It's not necessarily that even the defence have done brilliantly. I mean, they've had 7 block shots as well, but 14 on target still went through them. Their goalkeeper's ended with an 8.0. I've never seen an 8.0. I mean, justified. And scout. I mean, we're through, so it's weird because I'm not allowed to say unlucky because it still counts as a win because of the 2 legs. Because arguably, you can definitely say that one of the rare times I would actually generally say, you've been unlucky, boys. I suspected as much on the Seri front. Bruised ankle 1 to 2 days. I don't understand how a bruised ankle keeps you out of anything. I mean, defensively, obviously, we were ridiculous as well. But even the best players, Foreman, whatever. I mean, Foreman doesn't really score when he's a striker for some reason. And the thing I talked about, Rennes 2-0 with the away goal, they did it. Nice triumphing over Ajax on the day, but Ajax triumphing over all and Monaco through as well. We'll just see how the other 4 do. Of course, Tottenham Rangers and Valencia Inter, 2 other teams in the same situation to Rennes and Sociedad, actually. So, see if any 2-0 victories happen down here. Roma and Napoli 0-0 finally poised as well. Well, Tottenham definitely turned that one around. Valencia not so much. Right then. Hang on. 57 minutes, 67 minutes. That's 4 goals in 10 minutes. So Tottenham it is then. And that pops in around the Norwich and West Ham games. I think we may just do Tottenham as both legs in one thing and skip the West Ham in between. I do suspect probably the most sensible thing to do there. But Man United for now. Lentas was actually on a yellow card warning. Now, when it comes to the team still playing in the FA Cup and therefore getting a game in hand, the only 2 teams in the mix with us that aren't still in the FA Cup are Arsenal and Southampton. They've just played each other and Arsenal won that one. So in terms of the game in hand, pretty much everyone's still on the same number of games. So tracking positions and where we can end up, not really affected by the FA Cup at this stage. Which is both a good thing in terms of the league, but a bad thing in terms of the Cup because it means pretty much all the big teams are still in it. And you can see here, Liverpool and Man City have already won their games. So even if we get past Man United here, it's not an easy set of teams left. It's not like all the other big teams have been knocked out at this point. Foreman, obviously on loan from Man United, so I can't play him. Escobar still injured, so that's problematic. There's a few players returning from fitness, but they're nowhere near match sharp yet. Velasquez will make the bench, however, because he can cover either Ebersbach or Maxons. If necessary, Laird, of course, is injured as well, isn't he? Or he might just be back in time for this one, but apparently not. 87% though, he's not injured, he's just returning to fitness. 87% is still good enough if we need him in an emergency. Lentas on 90% isn't super brilliant either. Courage 91%, not super brilliant either, but good enough. I presume Man United are still in the Champions League if that's happening at the same time, so hopefully they played midweek as well. Also, a fair few players 1 yellow card away from danger, but let's be honest, if we get past Man United in the first place is a miracle in its own right. So Alawal, the young lad, is being forced to play up front in probably one of the biggest matches he's ever going to play in. I mean, look at that team. They've not weakened. Defensively, maybe, actually. Wait, what? When did that happen? I do not remember seeing that happen. I've played them since then. Only saving grace, really, is the fact they're also not starting with the best striker in the world. So what's the replacement score for here, then? Right, get back out there, guys, and do the business. 3 minutes in, there's a highlight. This worries me immediately. Maxence? To no one. Good work there. Medjbury, Mariba. What nationality is Medjbury? Because obviously he's a young kid, youth prospect at Man United to start with, so I don't know if he counts as English or not. We'll double check that. Back post, they've nearly scored already. No, he is French. Maxence, back post, Madeira. Good ball, but it's a little bit too heavily hit from Madeira to do anything with himself. Alawal Silva, despite having a bruised ankle as well, has scored in the biggest match of his career so far. It's a big moment. Yeah, this ball's slightly overhit, but Madeira does get onto it, so I will say it's a good ball nonetheless. Back to Saxton, who just tips it in. Alawal there, heads it through Paulo Cesar. I'm pretty certain he's the same nationality. Brazilian. Indeed he is. A few years older though, so probably not in the same youth team as him. Okay, so Man United in the black, of course. Quick chance for them. Yeah, that was literally all the highlight was. 3 seconds, throw in, ball in the box, headed over, smashed over, whatever it was. Cook, though, with another opportunity for them now. Mariba moving forward. Back to Lewis Cook. Man United always seem to end up with Lewis Cook. I know Lewis Cook either is or becomes a great player, or very, very solid player. He always seems to end up with Man United, though, when he does move, I notice. Saxton, though, moves forward again, and is it another assist for... Now, I called out Saxton recently for not really assisting all that much. That's 2 for this game, and maybe that 4-0 Liverpool situation has affected them more than I thought it might. But Saxton again with another assist, great cross in, another great header. Like, goalie does well, in fairness. Like, it's a great leap from the goalkeeper, it's just the header is even more superior. Dodo lost possession more than any other player on his team. Let's target him then, shall we? Assertively say, keep it up. We know the trick. We know to avoid don't get complacent, because that is immediately giving them the victory. And they've brought on Rashford and Sybil. Now, Rashford, of course, 10 years in the future, gotta be over 30 now. Oh, actually 30. God, he's actually even younger in real life than I thought he was. I thought he was about 22. Nope, only about 20. Only about 20. Cook Augusto. Keep an eye on number 9 here, the sensational Scottish striker. Madeira. No, we've managed to get the ball though. Grimes being hounded but maintains the ball. Coleridge gets to give it to Lentas. I mean, this is a completely pointless, irritating exchange between 2 players 3 feet away from each other. Rick. I know that moment happened quite a long while ago, but I just had to get it off my chest. Duque has been clean through here. Great save by Sergio though. I hate it when 2 players that far apart just pass it between each other about 5 times. Serves zero purpose other than to give the opponent an opportunity to close you down. Javier Rogerio though, being handled by number 25. Well, this came from the resulting corner, did it not? So, yeah, expected as much. Ebba's back tired. We are 75 minutes into this game pretty much at this stage. Ebba's back better, but tired. In fact, I may just leave him out there. There is an international break afterwards, so it's not like we have to really fear running players into the ground in this match. It's not like there's another midweek match after this. So they do get a little bit of time off to rest and recuperate, so don't really mind tiring them out a little bit more than they normally would here. Great tackle by Rick, but the follow-up ball still ends up with Duque, and he's ruined Shaunan, and then he's being fouled in the box by Rick, who is clearly angry that the ball somehow didn't end up with him because Football Manager does not like tackles to go to the player who actually tackled them. Lautaro Martinez versus Sergio. Sergio, ho ho ho! I love you, and Martinez is immediately taken off as a result. See, the AI knows to take off missed penalty takers straight away. I just noticed the stats. Not a lot of shots in the game. Like, you look at Grimes, you look at Ebba's back, they're sub 70%. You look at Saxon on the left-hand side, of course. They're sub 70%, but you don't want to take them off because they're actually playing really well in this game. It's ironically 2 of the slightly fresher players, Madeira in particular, who are the ones not necessarily performing. So I might take Alonso on here and just... I've played positive this entire match, by the way. Grimes, Amberg. I figured they might weaken their team a little bit to the point where positive is viable, and they seem to have done so if that's the kind of quality that they brought to this match. Not the best shot I've ever seen from Amberg there. Maxence, though, in the box, nice and clear, straight at the goalkeeper. Well done, Maxence. I thought something had happened there. I thought there'd been an offside call, the way Maxence just decided to turn around and nearly run back again. But no, unnecessary foul on that far side. Oh no, someone was offside. Never mind. We'll give Evers back his standing ovation for this match, considering he's on a 7.8, and that's the best he's had all year. Well, Dutra's 225th career appearance. What a great servant he's been. And despite the years that Evers back's been with us, that was his 25th career goal for us. Not the greatest of returns from a player that we bought just over 6 years ago. It was in January. Like, after scoring 8 last year, I really thought he was going to kick on and become brilliant. In fact, his average is exactly the same as his average of the first year he was here. Oh, speaking of first year they're here, Ivan Seri, by the way, I highlighted him at the beginning of a recent episode. That was before he'd learnt English. Was it 14 goals, 12 assists, before he could even speak English? Now he can understand his teammates. I dread to think how he's going to fare now. He did just get injured, which doesn't necessarily help. Nobody gave us a chance, I mean, including me, actually, for once. And I believe that's our first FA Cup semi-final. We got to the quarters a couple of times, thanks to pretty favourable draws. I mean, if we win the FA Cup, then getting 5th or 6th is irrelevant, because the FA Cup gives us what we want anyway. We'll just find out who we get in the semis, because I presume the draw is immediately following it. If we get Tottenham in that as well, I am going to be... Here we are. Because Tottenham's still in it. Liverpool. So the Liverpool versus York match has been rearranged thanks to York versus Liverpool. Right, so next time out, Tottenham both legs, that's unchanged. Now, the situation after that becomes a little bit more interesting, of course, because if we get past Tottenham, of course, in the quarterfinals, then there's going to be future European games down here as well, which may affect future episodes. Double Liverpool, bit awkward. Man United Leeds in particular, we haven't featured Leeds at all this year yet. Southampton, of course, in the Euro Cup runnings with us. So there's a lot of games down here which I would like to draw attention to. It just depends how relevant they become due to progressing in the Euro Cup in particular. Of course, FA Cup semi-final, if we get past Liverpool there, then the finals after everything. So who we play in the league probably factors more upon whether or not we get past Tottenham. So Tottenham next time out, twice. Until then, ta-ra.